Jackson Kihara here, of course, joining us here on set. And his story is very interesting, of course. He's a police officer who took to the streets to protest on the 24th and I believe 25th of June, and also just recently on the 9th of July is in the anti-government process that we've been witnessing in the country of late. Now, let me start with you. You are a uniformed officer, yet you decided to participate in the protest. Of course, this picture there on that particular front saying, I'm doing this on behalf of government employees, of a government employee rather, who is tired of Zakayo but can't say anything because kazi itaenda. How did this come about? What pushed you to the edge to do this?
So I think, as I've said before, like the people we have elected to represent us, I don't think they are doing their job. And also the people who have been nominated, they're not doing their job correctly. And there are many competent people in government, and that's what I'm advocating for. And people should be accountable for what they are doing. And yeah, we just want a better Kenya. Okay,
yeah. But this is the thing. You decided to do this while in uniform. In most cases, people will not do that. How did the courage come about to say, of course, as I'm a police officer at the same time, but I still have to do this?
I think if I'm paying taxes and I think I just have the right to demand for what is right, because I'm a taxpayer of this country. If the financial bill was going to pass, it was going to affect me, it was going to affect my kids. So I think if I'm just a Kenyan citizen, I'm just supposed to demand for what is right.
Okay.
Yes.
Demanding for what is right, fine. But doing that in uniform for the state that you're supposed to be representing, then that is where maybe people are questioning. Like,
so if the price of diapers rise, I will also be affected, because it doesn't exclude me because I'm an officer. You get what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
Yeah.
So your actions, what have they costed you?
Yeah, currently I've been interdicted from my job, and it's very sad because I was just trying to do the correct thing. And there are some cops who are out there who are killing people, and they're still out there doing their job, which, like, I don't think is the correct thing to do. Okay. Yeah.
In the process of your interdiction, what was the message that you were given? What were you told?
I was told, like, they interdicted me because of the placards that were on the internet. But I think what they did was I wasn't interdicted in a correct manner. Yes.
When you say you were not interdicted in the correct manner, what would be the correct manner?
Because I was not fairly charged. Yeah, I was hearing stories. There were some people in government who were just pushing for me to be interdicted, for me to be sacked. Yeah, and it should be done according to the Constitution of Kenya, and I don't think it was followed in a correct manner. Okay.
When you say it wasn't followed in a correct manner, what is it that you look at and you say, okay, this was quite unfair for me as a Kenyan citizen and as somebody that has been employed at this particular
Yeah, first of all, I think I was charged twice. I still have a pending case that is supposed to be taken to court, and I was interdicted on 10th, and on that same 10th, I was charged with the same offense. There were some DCI officers who took my fingerprints, yeah, and I was released on a cash bail the same day. So I don't think there is a law anywhere in the Constitution that says a person should be charged twice. I think there are some people just in government who are just pushing, and that's not the correct manner of doing things.
Okay, let me understand that. Charged twice for the same offense, or charged twice for...
Yeah, charged twice for the same offense.
Okay, so what would have been, because you say it is very unconstitutional for you, what would have been the best way to go about it, if at all, if you're to be charged or taken through the right process? What do you feel should have been done better for you?
I think, like, they could have listened to me, the reason why I was doing the things I was doing. Yeah.
Okay. Let me get, because now you have a family.
Yeah.
You took a bold move and decided to speak for the rest of other government employees, just like your placard was saying. What kind of feedback have you gotten from your family?
Currently, my dad is very proud of me. Okay. My brother is also very proud of me, and my sisters are proud of me, but they are fearing for my life. Okay. But for a change to happen, for a revolution to happen, we must stand tall and be fearless. Yeah, and that's, I think I did a nice thing. Okay.
Oh, you did a nice thing.
Yeah.
You came out bold. But this is the thing. Your family is proud of you, but they fear for your life. Do you fear for your life yourself?
I think from what I've gone through right now, I don't think I fear for my life, because I think I've made an impact, and I made an impact in this revolution.
Have you been threatened? Because you see, with this, a lot of people have been coming out and saying, I've received threats, you know, abductions and all that. A lot of things are happening, and allegedly, most of these things are believed that they're being, these abductions and all that being done by police officers and all that, and of course representing the state. Those are just allegations. But with what is happening, have you been in any way threatened?
Yes, I've been threatened a lot of times. Some people have been calling me, and some people also have been following me. Before I got my anticipatory bail, when those placards went viral on the internet, yeah, some people were coming to my house looking for me. They even went ahead to my bike, my rider, and they asked him where I was living. And I've been traced, like, with people, unknown people who are not in uniform, so many times.
What was going through your mind when that was happening? You know that people are trailing you. What was going through your mind?
I was afraid, but yeah, and then I went into hiding, and then I got my anticipatory bail. Then I presented myself.
Right now you are on TV speaking.
Yeah.
And you've been in a couple of interviews.
Yes.
How does it not scare you? Because a lot of people that will be in your position will not be willing to talk about it, because of fear of what could happen to them. Just like you put it, you've been trailed, your family is afraid, is, you know, scared on your behalf and all that. Where do you get the courage to say, despite my fears, I'm still going to go ahead and do this?
Yes. Because when the fear is gone, they lose their power.
All right. Your take on his, because this is a young man that is, you know, on the streets, has come out to say, with whatever you're talking about this morning, you know, pushing for accountability, pushing for, you know, reforms in the country and all that. He's a young man, you know, in police uniform that decided, of course, I'm going to hold this placard and speak for government employees that I believe their voice is not being heard. When you listen to their story, what do you make of it?
Well, you see, he's a young man, and with listening to what he said, is that because he has mentioned his father, he has mentioned his sisters, he has not mentioned a wife and a kid. For him to take a position, such a position, he knows where the shoe tightens the most. So with me, the only thing that I would query is that if he wanted to do it, he would have done it without uniform, because they have their code of conduct, they have their rules on how they should conduct themselves at any given time. And you know, Kenya is a country of rule of law. I'm not saying that the action that he did was in any way bad, but to my thinking is that he ought to have done it in a better way. But he has a right. As a person who knows that he has a future, as a person who knows that any action that would take place at this particular time will have an impact on his family, would have an impact on his generation that is coming. So for him, he wasn't, because he's a Gen Z. Being a Gen Z and looking at how things have been unfolding, in fact, they've brought some senses into even us parents, seeing that they have made bold moves for a government to even sit down and listen to young lads or young kids. I think it's a wake-up call for everyone, and I applaud him for the action that he did. The only thing that I would advise him in future, because he was sending a message to represent some certain sector, because the issue to do with finance bill, looking at the pressure that has been coming from the Gen Z, it clearly tells us that they are looking at their future. And for him, it was representing those who are working in government. So he sent a message. And, you know, the Gen Zs are looking at going viral, you know, having more, you know, more people to like your. So it is, yeah. So for me, I think he's made a bold move. Okay. And looking at his generation, he's on the right track. Okay.
Shakur says it's not about going viral and publicity. I'll come to you for your response. But let me come to you, Fred. This is, you know, Shakur decided to take to the streets, and taking to the streets, of course, a lot of people have taken to the streets, but the way he did it has brought consequences in his life. I don't know, and maybe consequences that he was ready to pay, you know, because he understood when he decided to hold the placard in uniform, he understood that this will have a consequence at the end of it. What do you make of this particular move? And his placard clearly states, I'm speaking for government employees that are afraid to speak, because if they do, Gazeta end.
Okay. Thank you so much, Brian, for that question. First, let me not delve into the merits or the demerits of his actions at the moment, because, as you have heard, it's a matter that is actively undergoing through the judicial process and system, and I don't want to be cited for discussing matters sub judice. But all the same, I want to really encourage our people in the disciplined forces and every other sector within our government establishment to relook at the code of conduct and the conduct that is expected of them before signing up for certain jobs, because there are certain jobs that are very, very sensitive, especially jobs that are in our security sector. So in this regard, in as much as I appreciate him having the courage to come forth and agitate for certain aspects of change in the governance of this country, I would also encourage other people in the same space to try and follow the procedures that are very well established within their organizational structures and hierarchy. Because I know even in the security industry or security sector, there are avenues for either suggesting changes or aspects that the officers may not be comfortable with. And within those structures, their feedback can be shared. The areas where they need improvement can be improved. Like in the prison sector where my friend here was working, it's one of the areas that really needs a lot of radical reforms. Him serving in that sector, I think he would have had even a better opportunity to help in changing and improving the lives and the lives of officers, the lives of Kenyans, and every other stakeholder within that department. So I don't want to discuss about the merits or demerits, but from where I sit, I can confirm that indeed my friend must have breached the code of conduct that is expected of an officer in uniform, of an officer serving in place where he was serving. Okay. Especially remembering that there are many, many Kenyans out there who are just looking and longing for an opportunity to be given that opportunity that we had previously before the interdiction.
But the thing he argues, when it cuts across. It doesn't choose you're working for government or you're working for you're not a government employee when it comes to taxes. That's his concern.
Brian, we shall be breeding anarchy in this country if we will allow our uniformed officers and disciplinary forces to engage in activism.
Okay, Jackson, Shakur, right? Tempted to call you Shakur, but this is the thing, code of conduct, because that's the argument that is coming out here.
Let me first of all say this: if Honorable would have done the correct thing by not voting for the finance bill, maybe we wouldn't be right here. I'm just saying, like, they are the ones who are doing the wrong things. And I would like to ask this, Mheshimiwa, why did you vote yes for the finance bill? In 3 words.
I voted yes for the finance bill because I believe that we need to take a bold step and take this country
and what I've done
out of debt.
I've taken a bold step because what they are doing is not the right thing. They're just doing things because of their own interest.
Yeah. Mesh, is it your own interest or you're representing the people? Because the people did say no. Why did you vote yes?
He asked me for a question to give a reason why I voted yes, and I said, I'm one of the believers that we need to take this country out of debt by trying as much as possible to be self-sustaining, generating resources internally, so that in future our children will not get auctioned because of our borrowing. Okay, to sustain our budgets.
Your actions in voting yes led to Shakur taking to the streets and at the end of the day losing his job. So
my point is, I have no issue with the Shakur going to the streets, but my point is, we will be breeding anarchy in this country if we allow our disciplined forces to start discussing matters of revolutions anyhowly by allowing them to be activists on the streets. I think that is not a country that we want to see. We want to see a country that is well governed with the rule of law and order.
First of all, let me correct you. I did not go to the streets. There was just a picture that went viral of me holding a placard. And secondly, I'm a patriot and I love this country so much, and I just want us to follow the constitution in a correct way. And what Mheshimiwa I'm saying is, not even you are in the Kenya Kwanza government, if they are doing the wrong thing, you should be able to call them out and say, this is wrong. We're supposed to do this way. But just because you are selfish, you just like say yes for whatever they are saying. And we all know, and that's why the Gen Zs are going to the streets, because they are feeling like these people, they don't have their interests at heart.
Yeah. Are you taking to the streets today because people are taking to the streets?
Me, what I'll just say is I support what they are doing because they are crying out for what is supposed to be done. Like right now, I was arrested at Parliament Road because like right now we feel like that justice has not been done for the people who were killed during that government protest, and there are some people who were killed and they were protesting.
That's your picture there on the screen. You have white coat, of course, stained in blood. What was the symbolic behind that? It's
the blood of the people that died, and some people should be accountable for that. We want the president to arrest some people. We want justice to be done. There are some rogue police officers who are just killing people in this country, and that's not the kind of country you want.
These are your colleagues, you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not saying the entire police. All the people are rogue. There are some good cops out there, and some of them have been even congratulating me. More than 1,000 people. Okay. And we're just calling out, like, we want justice to be done. There are some few rogue police officers who are just trigger happy, and they should be brought into justice. Yeah, we want to hear the president, we want people to be arrested. Yeah, for
people to be arrested as far as brutality and the justice that has been meted against the people that have been taken to the street is concerned, right? Yeah. I believe that. Let me come to you. Sustained calls of accountability, that is still, despite measures that have been put in place to try and quell whatever is happening in the country, the head of state saying now we are ready for dialogue, dissolution of the cabinet, rejection of the finance bill, we are doing austerity measures. Still, the list continues. And it seems like every result that is coming out of the protest There's another mistake that people will be like, okay, now you've pointed this out. We are talking about dissolving the parliament. Yes, we've dissolved the parliament, but it's coming too little, too late. A lot of people have died. We want justice for them. We want the IG of police. The cabinet, sorry about that. So with all this, and also they want you out of office. They're saying members of parliament need to go home. We need to disband that, but that's another topic. So the list continues to grow every day. To what end, or what should be the right move, especially coming from the head of state, when it comes to trying to quell whatever is happening? Because there's so much anger out here that people are not relenting and they're not willing to surrender.
Thank you. You see, the list is open-ended, and the demands are coming in every day as a result of actions. And if you look at the reactions of government and the president himself, is that he has given a hand of listening. And in fact, some few days I was in Ukunda. I had gone for lunch, and I met a bunch of Gen Zs. They confronted me, and like, Mheshimiwa, how are you? I said, I was fine. Mheshimiwa, we are surprised. You know, we never knew that the president would come down and listen to us. Because as for us, we were ready to go full throttle so that we can ensure we achieve what we want. But we are impressed with the reactions of the president, because he's a president who has humanity in him. For him to sit down and listen to the Gen Zs, for him to even accept to come into their space and have a discussion in regard to the things that are going on in Kenya, for him to say that he has taken a bold move to dissolve his cabinet. You know, dissolving a cabinet is somehow a political suicide. Because my thinking is that the president already had a position, because he wanted to sack some of the ministers. Because it's not the whole cabinet that has failed the president. It's some of the ministers who have failed the president, just because of, this disconnect with the Kenyan citizen and inappropriate flow of information. So for me, I think it is a wake-up call for us as Kenyans to listen to the president, because we have a beautiful country. Why do we want to burn it down? Okay. The president has already shown some signs of engaging other people so that we can be able to look at things in the right direction and the same page.
I want to take a short break here, but just 30 seconds. Are these lists of demands that continue coming out legitimate from your point of view?
Because if you look at the list, it is about integrity, accountability, and accountability cuts across. Leave alone us as Kenyans, we have to be accountable for our actions. Media has to be accountable for the actions. Executive, they have to be accountable for the action. The president and his ministers, and even members of parliament. And that is why we have engaged in this conversation. Accountability is paramount in any governance. Okay. And we are lucky to have a president who listens. In African country, give me an example of a president who would listen to his people when they come in such a pressure. we are in a new dispensation. Okay. Well, if you look at the mode of communication, it's quite different from the previous regimes. This time round, the space is open. Communication is 24 hours, real time. People are getting information on real time. Okay.
The argument here will be the voices and the voices were made, you know, the calls were made quite early, but the listening part came quite late. So we'll be getting into that. We want to take a short break here on New Dawn. Continue engaging us on our socials at Amoy Brian, that is on X, at K24 TV. We are also live on Facebook and on YouTube. We do welcome your feedback on those particular social platforms. Tell us what you think about the conversation we are having this morning and your take. We'll be sampling some of it as we continue with the program this morning. All right, we take a break. We'll be back in a few.